They found new evidence tying Boosie to Duke the Jeweler beef. I want y'all to know they went into it right then and there at the moment, but it led to the point where Duke the Jeweler family, they came out and said that Boosie set him up, and they said they going to the fullest extent to try to prosecute this man. Will Boosie even have to do time for doing this to Duke the Jeweler? Because this was an unfortunate event that happened. RIP Takeoff, RIP Duke the Jeweler, because Takeoff and Duke the Jeweler was in Houston when they didn't make it home. They did something to them two guys out there, and look at the result, man. They bogus for what they did to Duke the Jeweler and Takeoff. I would just like to send my condolences out to the family. It should have never even went down like that. But we're gonna see how it all unfold after everything is said and done. It ain't gonna turn out good for Boosie. It ain't.
Somebody tried to rob him and killed the dude. What the hell, my 19-year-old cousin gonna try to rob and kill somebody? Bro, we getting money, man.
Boosie is being investigated by the feds for allegedly setting up Duke the Jeweler and getting him killed after bringing him to a rigged dice game with Jay Prince Jr. in Houston. But first, let me break down exactly how this whole setup went down. That's gonna blow your mind. And yo, before we get into this crazy story, make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe, because this content is about to get wild. No cap, this is some serious street politics that most people don't even know about. We're talking about organized crime disguised as hip-hop culture, fam. So first, let me break down who Duke the Jeweler really was, because this man was way more than just some random jeweler from Chicago. Duke was straight up one of the most respected jewelers in the Midwest, shorty. We're talking about a man who built his reputation from the ground up, working with everyone from local rappers to major league athletes. So Duke gets this call from Boosie about making a custom piece. Now, Duke had worked with rappers before, but Boosie was on a different level. We're talking about a Louisiana legend with serious street credibility. When Boosie calls and says he wants to do business, that's the type of call that can take your jewelry business to the next level. But here's where it gets suspicious. Boosie specifically asked Duke to come to Houston instead of handling the business in Chicago or Louisiana. He told Duke about this big Labor Day weekend event, made it sound like there would be multiple celebrities there who might want custom pieces. Boosie painted this picture of Duke making connections and getting multiple big orders. The crazy part is, Duke was excited about this trip. He posted on his social media about heading to Houston, about the potential business opportunities. This man had no idea he was driving straight into a setup that would cost him his life. And now let me expose Jay Prince Jr.'s whole operation, because this is way deeper than people realize. Bro, Jay Prince Jr. has been running the same scam for years, and it's so calculated it's actually scary. This dude has turned robbing successful people into an art form. No cap. Here's how the whole operation works from start to finish. First, Jay Prince Jr. identifies targets, usually out-of-town rappers, athletes, or successful business people who are coming to Houston. He uses his connections in the industry to find out who's coming to town, how much money they have, and what kind of jewelry they're wearing. Then comes the approach. Jay Prince Jr. doesn't just run up on people. That's amateur hour. Instead, he positions himself as this Houston street legend who wants to show love to visitors. He'll hit you up on social media, have mutual friends make introductions, whatever it takes to seem legitimate. Once he gets them comfortable, that's when the real game begins. He'll take them around Houston, show them the city, introduce them to other people in his circle. He makes it feel like they're being welcomed into some exclusive club. But really, he's just building trust so he can set them up later. The plan was simple. Let Duke win a little bit at first to build his confidence, then use the rigged dice to take everything he had. They wanted him to feel comfortable betting big money, then they would clean him out and send him back to Chicago. But something went wrong with their plan, gang. According to the streets, Duke accidentally got past the real dice instead of the fake ones. Maybe someone got confused, maybe the dice got switched by accident. But whatever happened, Duke started winning with legitimate dice. Duke won over $645,000 that night. That's actually insane. He was cleaning house, taking money from everyone at the table, including some very dangerous people who weren't used to losing their own money. You could see the tension building in the room as Duke kept winning. These dudes were getting heated because their own scam was backfiring on them. They had magnetic tables and trick dice, but none of that worked when Duke was rolling with real dice.
We supposed to be dropping.
Man, Lord.
We supposed to be mad.
Boosie was standing behind Duke the whole time, and people noticed he kept whistling. At first, everyone thought he was just being playful, but now people realized those whistles were actually signals. He was communicating with the other people in the room, probably trying to coordinate how they were going to handle the situation. The crazy part is, Duke was being a good sport about everything. Even when he was winning all this money, he wasn't being disrespectful or rubbing it in anyone's face, but winning their money was the worst thing that could have happened to Duke. After Duke cleaned house at the dice game, you could feel the energy in the room change completely. These dudes went from being friendly and welcoming to cold and calculating real quick. They weren't about to let some out-of-town jeweler walk away with over $500,000 of their money. No cap. According to witness statements and what people are saying on the streets, there was a whole meeting after the dice game ended. Boosie, J. Prince Jr., and their crew got together to plan how they were going to get their money back. This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment decision. This was a calculated murder plot. They knew Duke was going to Boosie's concert the next night, so they had time to plan everything out. They studied his movements, figured out where he was staying, and planned the perfect ambush. These dudes turned murder into a business operation. They had multiple people following Duke throughout the day. When they approached Duke in that parking lot, this man wasn't going out without a fight. Duke tried to defend himself, but he was outnumbered and outgunned. The shooters came prepared for war, while Duke was just trying to get to his car and go back to his hotel. The shooting was quick and brutal. They shot Duke multiple times, took all the money he had won at the dice game, plus his jewelry, and then disappeared into the night. And this is where Boosie's Oscar-worthy performance begins. So right after Duke gets murdered, Boosie goes into full acting mode. This dude makes not one, but multiple videos trying to distance himself from what happened. He's on camera talking about how sad he is, how Duke was a good dude, and how this type of violence isn't his stilo.
Some dudes tried to rob him.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want, and watch it take shape.
See some dudes that tried to rob me and walk off. By itself, bro.
Boosie also tried to make it seem like Duke lost money at the dice game, when everyone knows Duke won big that night. He said Duke wasn't upset about losing, but how can you be upset about losing when you actually won over $600,000? The lies don't even make sense. What if I told you that Boosie's story about what happened after the concert keeps changing? That's actually suspicious as hell. First he said Duke left by himself, then he said Duke was with other people, then he changed the story again. When you're telling the truth, your story doesn't keep changing. The most disgusting part of Boosie's performance was how he tried to use Duke's death to make himself look like a victim. He talked about how the internet was trying to blame him, how people were being unfair to him, how this was affecting his mental health. Bro, a man is dead and you're worried about your reputation?
Internet, y'all got us all the way up, man. We met that dude, Duke the jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to rob him and killed the dude. What the hell, my 19-year-old cousin gonna try to rob and kill somebody? Bro, we getting money, man.
That's crazy.
Fucking money, that ain't our stilo. As a boss, I ain't letting that go down like that, man. This dude finna make me a piece. So y'all need to kill that. That's bad low, man. Don't put us in nothing with no bad low. It's bad low, man.
The fake sympathy in these videos was so obvious it actually made people more suspicious. Real grief doesn't look like a performance. And Boosie was clearly performing for the cameras. He was trying too hard to seem innocent, and that made him look guilty as hell. Fans found video evidence of Boosie's nephew leaving the building right before Duke got shot. That's actually insane. They went through security footage, social media posts, and witness accounts to create a timeline that showed exactly how the murder went down. The internet detectives also discovered that Duke's Louis Vuitton bag with his jewelry was found at Boosie's house. Like, how do you explain that away? Boosie claimed Duke asked him to hold it during the dice game, but after Duke got murdered, why didn't that bag go back to his family? Why was it just sitting at Boosie's crib like it belonged there? Social media users also started connecting this case to other suspicious incidents involving J. Prince Jr. and his crew. They found patterns of out-of-town artists getting robbed or killed after attending dice games in Houston. This wasn't Duke's first time. This was part of a bigger operation. But this is where Boosie showed his true colors. So after the internet basically solved the whole case and exposed all the evidence, Boosie's whole demeanor changed completely. Instead of continuing to play the grieving friend, this dude got mad that people figured out what really happened. And yo, that reaction told us everything we needed to know about his guilt. Boosie started making angry videos calling people internet detectives and keyboard warriors. He was heated that fans were connecting the dots and exposing the truth. But bro, if you're really innocent, why are you mad at people for trying to find justice for Duke? That's actually crazy behavior right there. An innocent person would want people to investigate and find the real killers. An innocent person would be grateful that people cared enough about Duke to seek the truth. But Boosie was more concerned about protecting himself than getting justice for Duke. Boosie also started trying to discredit the evidence that fans had found. He would make videos trying to explain away the phone records, the fingerprints, the witness statements, but his explanations never made sense. When you have to work that hard to explain away evidence, it usually means you're guilty. The fact that Boosie spent more time attacking people who were seeking justice than he did mourning Duke's death showed everyone what his real priorities were. He cared more about his reputation than he did about a man who lost his life. And yo, even Boosie's own family started turning against him. Here's where the story gets even crazier. Boosie's own brother TQ came forward saying he has receipts that prove Duke got set up. When your own blood is calling you out for murder, you know the situation is bad, no cap. TQ and Boosie have been beefing for years over money and business deals. According to court documents, TQ allegedly stole over $360,000 from Boosie's bank account and helped one of Boosie's artists sign with another label behind his back. But the Duke situation made TQ speak up in a way he never had before. He started hinting on social media that he knew the real story about what happened to Duke and that Boosie wasn't as innocent as he was pretending to be. TQ said he had evidence that could expose the whole setup.
You think niggas wake up and just choose Boosie to steal from? You don't think there's better people to steal from? Like, it's not fucking happening. Boosie is not a victim, dog. Like, that nigga ain't no... Boosie is a fucking villain.
Here's where this story gets absolutely wild. Some people think the Duke situation is connected to what happened to Takeoff from Migos. Both situations involve dice games in Houston, both involve J. Prince Jr.'s circle, and both ended with successful young men losing their lives over money and jewelry. The pattern is too similar to ignore, fam. Young successful artists come to Houston, get invited to these exclusive dice games, something goes wrong with money or respect, and they end up dead. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern of predatory behavior. What if I told you that there might be other victims we don't even know about? That's actually insane when you think about it. How many other successful people have been lured to Houston and never made it home?
Exactly, Wayne. Hey, you ain't said nothing wrong. Hey, that's really what happened. Boosie was whistling at that dice game. If he would have never been whistling, none of this would have went on, man. Hey, it's sad that this had to happen to Duke the Jeweler. But Boosie, he knew exactly what he was doing. He was pretty sure aware that Duke the Jeweler bags were still in that room. I told y'all this. I told y'all this for 2-3 years. Told y'all. It's true.
Many other families are grieving because of these dice game setups. Charleston White has been calling this out for years, warning people about the dangerous environment that Jay Prince Jr. and his crew create in Houston. He's been saying that the check-in culture is really just a way to identify and target successful people who come to the city. The takeoff situation happened at a dice game where money and respect were on the line. Sound familiar? The Duke situation happened after a dice game where he won money from dangerous people. The parallels are undeniable. Both cases also involve the same circle of people: Jay Prince Jr., his crew, and various Houston street figures who profit from these gambling operations. It's like they have a system for luring successful people into dangerous situations. The federal investigation into Duke's murder might uncover evidence that connects to Takeoff's case and other unsolved crimes in Houston. When you start pulling on one thread, sometimes the whole criminal network unravels. And here's where things stand right now and why this matters for the whole industry. As of right now, the federal investigation is still ongoing, but sources close to the case say that indictments could be coming soon. The evidence against Boosie and his crew is overwhelming, and federal prosecutors are known for only bringing cases they're confident they can win. Boosie is still trying to maintain his innocence, but his legal team is reportedly preparing for the worst. When you have federal investigators building a case against you, that's not something you can just rap your way out of, no cap. The streets are watching this case closely because it could expose a whole network of organized crime that's been operating in the hip-hop industry for years. If Boosie goes down for this, it might encourage other victims to come forward and expose similar operations in other cities. What if I told you that this case could change how the entire industry handles security and business relationships? That's actually insane when you think about the ripple effects this could have. Artists might start being more careful about who they trust and where they go to conduct business. The Duke case has also highlighted the dangers of the check-in culture that exists in certain cities. Artists are starting to question whether checking in with local street figures is really about respect and protection, or if it's just a way for criminals to identify and target successful people. Record labels and management companies are reportedly reviewing their security protocols and advising their artists to be more cautious when traveling to certain cities. The days of blindly trusting street legends might be coming to an end. This case could also lead to more federal investigations into similar operations in other cities. If the feds can prove that there's an organized network of criminals targeting successful people in the hip-hop industry, that could lead to a nationwide crackdown. The impact on Houston's hip-hop scene could be massive too. If Jay Prince Jr. and his crew get taken down, that could change the entire power structure in the city. Other artists and entrepreneurs might finally feel safe to operate without having to pay tribute to street figures. And that's the full breakdown of how Boosie allegedly set up Duke the Jeweler and got
Now we know everything that was said, it was true. Hey, Wayne, hey, they said that the indictments may be coming soon. So, hey, look, how we gonna take this? How we gonna see if Boosie and them actually gonna get prosecuted for what's going on, man? I think this is a sad situation that could easily be avoided, but they targeted rappers. That's what they did. They should have never targeted the rappers. But that's what led this to being what it is. So, man, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're a fan of Duke the Jeweler. Share this video. Share this video, y'all.